Good afternoon. Are you my next appointment? Okay. So it looks like we have you scheduled in for a symmetrical tattoo on each shoulder. Wonderful. Do you have any kind of sketches or anything like that that you'd like me to take a look at? Okay, thank you. Oh, this is beautiful. Okay, so they're not going to be quite symmetrical. You're going to have one that's a little bit more lavish on one side. Okay. Which side? Okay. So do you want them on the front here like this? Okay. Well, this is a part of the arm and the shoulder that does have a lot of flexing. So if there's any bit that I can offer, I'd like to make just a couple of modifications just to kind of bounce off of you and see how you feel about that and to see whether or not you like those modifications. Okay. Do you want to do one side first? Do you want to do them both at the same time? All right. Well, let me just take a second here. And since this area stretches a lot, if we can move it a little bit more to the side, that'll keep it a little bit more symmetrical all the time. If you bring it in closer to the collarbone here, this is going to be a little bit more of a intense area to be tattooing. Okay. Do you have any preference of where that's located? Okay. So if we stretch it out a little bit, and since this is a side that you want them to be a little bit more elaborate on, we can move it a little bit further outward. Keep it symmetrical on this side, but a little bit smaller. Oh, you want it on this side? No, that's absolutely. Now this is going to be on your body much, much longer than you're going to be here in my office. So if there's any modifications that you want to make, I'll put a stencil on first and allow you to look at it in the mirror, and then you tell me whether or not those are your preferences. Okay. Alright, so just going to elongate this area here so that when you're standing at normal posture, that you don't have anything that's kind of misshapen. Okay. So if I do that to this side right here, that's okay? Okay. And then on this side, we're going to do longer. And do you want there to be like flare? Do you want any kind of color in it? Do you want just black and black ink, anything like that? Okay, so you want a little bit of red pigment. Okay. It's always a personal opinion. I don't want to influence, what your vision of this is. I think that with certain areas, certain pigments do have a little bit more longevity, especially when, exposed to sun and things like that. Like dark green pigments, blue pigments can have a little bit of longevity compared to warmer tones. They won't fade as quickly, but touch-ups are very common, so if you needed a touch-up in the future, things like that are completely normal. Okay. So if we flare out here with those colors, kind of like in this area right here, do you think that that's going to be a little bit more? Yeah, this is just a rough idea. But if that looks like the general idea that you're going through, why don't I take just a couple of moments here, get this on a stencil, put it on your skin. It's a removable stencil, so it's something that you can kind of observe. Make sure that you like the placement and size of it, orientation, that sort of thing. Okay, give me just a couple of moments here. Let's see if we can get that on a stencil, okay? Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to roughly trace this outline here. Okay. And we'll have the coloration that kind of fades out a little bit on that side here. And then down towards the bottom, we're also going to flare that out quite a bit. Okay. And given the size of this, I know that sometimes clients will want to come in and have other aspects of it done at different times. So if it gets to be too painful, just know that we can, reschedule you for a couple of days from now. Let this heal up a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to do the same for what's going to be on your other side. It's a slightly smaller version of it. Any kind of artistic liberty with this, or is this pretty set in stone? Okay. Well, I mean, I personally would move it a little bit more towards the edge just because of the flexing of the skin, keep it symmetrical. But towards the edge of it, like if we flare out and we fade that color out, I think it'll give a very nice, like a nice spread there. Kind of like that. So why don't we look at it in a stencil? We can wipe the stencil off, so if it's not, meeting the criteria that you want, we can adjust it. Okay. So we got that there. I'm going to, with your permission, take a little bit of time to clean the skin, shave the skin, make sure that we don't have any hairs there, and then we'll apply a balm, put the stencil on. You can look at it in a mirror. Okay. Start on your left side. Okay. Just going to clean the shoulder area here. So this is going to be the larger of the two areas. So I'm going to take a straight razor and clean the skin. Is that going to be okay? It'll give us a nice clean surface. Try to hold very still for me. Okay, I'm just going to clean the skin. I use a little isopropyl alcohol just to help sanitize it. Just to go over the skin. The entire area here so we have a nice clean canvas, so to speak. Right, let's take a look at the other side here. So do you mind holding an upright, normal posture for yourself? Okay. Just wipe the surface down a little bit. Use just a bit of rubbing alcohol. There's a couple of areas here I'm going to show you a little bit more. And just want to look at you symmetrically. Yeah, I think that's symmetrical. Good, good. Okay, just going to clean the area. More rubbing alcohol. And you've had ink work done before, right? Okay. All right. Looks good. Yeah, I think that's symmetrical. Okay. I'm going to apply a balm to the area and just allow it to stick and get kind of tacky, and then we'll put the stencil on. I'll give you a mirror and you can tell me what you think. Okay. Starting on your left side. Yeah, it's going to get a little tacky. That's what I want. Okay. And now on your other side. And you might notice that it goes a little bit numb, and that is intentional. It's going to help with the entire process to make it a little more tolerable. Okay. We're a little bit tacky on this side here, so I'm going to apply the stencil for your left side, okay? Okay. So just sit upright for me as much as you can. Okay, I'm trying to get this to be even on both sides, so there we go. Let's make a wooden stick here. Just flatten out the stencil as much as I can. Just up over the shoulder a little bit there. And then peel that off. Okay. Yeah, I do think that's going to look good. Okay. And now on your right side. And same placement right there. I'm going to just try to smooth it out a little. Just use my fingertips a little bit here. Okay, it does look symmetrical from my perspective. I'm going to give you a hand mirror here. I want you to take a good look at this, okay? Let's go ahead and give it as much critique as you feel. Okay. So on this side, we're going to kind of flare this out a little bit here. This one's going to wrap a little bit more around your shoulder on this side. Yeah. And And with this side, we'll add a little bit of the green coloration that's going to flare out. And this will wrap around the shoulder a little bit more and fade out into the skin tone. Okay. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to tell from the stencil, but that coloration will be a little bit more subtle than the outline that we're looking at here. Okay. You like it? Wow, that was good. Okay. With the stencil in place, I'm going to take some sanitation spray, and this will allow us to make sure that the surface of the area is going to be as sanitary as we can be. I'll put on some gloves. I'll get the ink prepared, and then I'll put some gloves on, and then start out with the outline. Okay. Are you comfortable? Is there anything else that I can get you? Any water? You know, something to chew on? We have gum. People sometimes find that chewing gum during tattoos makes the process a little more tolerable. Okay. Feel free to ask at any point. Okay. So we'll start on your right side, or I'm sorry, your left side, just because this is going to be a more surface area. Okay? I'm going to allow that to sit for a little bit, as well as this side, and I'll come back to it as well. Okay. Just allow that to dry. I'm going to prep the ink, and I'll be right back. Okay. So we're going to have some base colors. So for the base color and outline, we're going to go with a black. And then, do you have any preference for the green color? Do you want it to be a teal? Do you want it to be a forest green, pastel, something like that? It's always a personal preference. I don't want to infringe my opinion on these. It's, you know, your vision. And I think with your particular skin tone, a dark color and then fading out to something that's a little bit lighter green would be a very good contrast with what your natural skin tone is. Okay. If I show you some of the colors here, so this is going to look a little bit different on your skin. It's going to look a little bit darker at first, and that's just because the skin's going to be irritated, but within a couple of days it's going to flake off. You're going to get a little bit of scabbing, and then it'll become a little bit more of a subtle, rich color, but also not nearly as dark as it's going to appear at first. We can also go with something a little bit more pastel, has a little bit more warmth to it. That with your skin tone, I mean, it can be a very pretty color. It might need a little bit of touching up in a couple of days or a couple of weeks once it settles, though. Of course, you can always come in for touch-ups. Another combination would be that dark green that borders the black here, and then transitioning to a pastel. It doesn't even have to be green. You can go with any other color. For instance, if you're looking more of like a natural color, we could do a yellow, a blue. A light blue would be very majestic, but if you wanted more of that nature look, like the leaves to come out like this, I would go more like a yellow color. How about something that looks a little bit more like this? Okay. You think so? All right. I'm going to put these in little individual cups. So there's going to be my base, and that's just black, and then that nice earthy green. And then this canary yellow. You like that? It does. It looks really, really nice on the skin. and that we can also, I don't want to say layer because that's not the correct wording, but you can add more to it in time and make that more vibrant. Some of the lighter colors, the lighter tones, they might not appear very visible on the skin at first. So sometimes it might take one or two goes to, get that color that you want. Well, if you think that that's a good match, let me go and sanitize my hands. I'll go put on some gloves and we'll get started. Are you sure you're comfortable? Okay. All right. Give me just a couple moments. And just to make sure that the skin is tacky. Okay, good. How long have you been planning this? It can be addicting, I know. Just gonna have you try to relax for me as much as you can. Try to keep even posture here. Is there anything that I can do that'll help you feel and sit more comfortably? Okay. Well, there's pillows, there's blankets, there's all sorts of things. Okay, let me apply a new needle here. So for the outline, we're going to use, I think we're going to use 3 needles here so we can get a nice, deep, rich line. And let me know when you're ready. Alright. I'm going to start here in the center. And you're going to feel a little bit of discomfort at first. But after a while, it will start to fade, okay? Is that okay? Yeah, it's a tender spot, I know. This has some really nice curvy artistic lines to it. I'm going to take some gauze here and just dab the area. You okay? Just let me know if you need a break, okay? A little more ink. You're doing great. Good job. Okay, there's going to be a lot of ink right here, so this may be a tender area. You just tell me if you need any kind of timeout. I'm sorry. You're doing great, though. One more ink. Clean the skin a little bit. The outline is coming along very, very nicely. So I'm going to freehand a little bit of this. As I'm cleaning the skin, we're going to be wiping away some of the stencil work. More ink. There you go. We're almost down to the rough lines here. Nice and straight. Okay. I'm going to clean the skin here now that we got a really good shape here. So this will allow you to see that outline a little bit. So go ahead and take the mirror, take a good look at that. And keep in mind that this line right here, so it's going to be a nice trail that goes over the shoulder. This line is going to be a little bit darker here towards the center. Okay. Okay. Does that look like what you expected it to? Well, thank you. Okay. So I'm going to put the rest of the stencil. Okay. Do you want to switch to the other side, or do you want me to continue in this area? Is it too tender? Okay. Well, why don't I take just a little bit of time and we'll get the stencil work done on your right shoulder. Okay. It's going to be a little bit smaller, so it won't be nearly the surface area. And then we'll come back to this shoulder if you're feeling up for it, okay? Great. Okay. Alrighty. Get a little bit of ink here. I'm going to switch out my needle here just because I want a nice fresh one, okay? And ready? Okay. Okay, here we go. Is that an okay pressure? Okay. Just try to stay very still. Try to keep these lines exactly as they were intended. More ink. Just going to pull the skin a little bit tight here. You okay? Okay. Just let me know if that changes. You okay? You're doing great. clean the area here. It's a smaller stencil, so this didn't take nearly the surface area or the time. I see there's a spot here I missed, so I'm going to freehand this little area here. Why don't you take them here and take a look. So this area right here. Okay, I'm going to make that a little bit of a stronger line with the black. Okay. You're doing absolutely fantastic. You're holding up like a champ. Okay. Ready? Just strengthening that line there. Do you want to take another look in the mirror? Okay. So the symmetry looks like it's spot on to me. And I'm going to strengthen that line that trails up over the shoulder a little bit more on this side. Does this area feel too tender? Are you ready for another go on your left? Okay. Alright. Just a little bit more ink. And here we go. It's a very artistic line, so we want it to stand out nicely. I'm going to go over some of these lines just a little bit more and give them a little more definition. You alright? Okay. Okay. Down a little bit towards the bottom here. Okay. Wipe that area clean. The same on your right. Why don't you have a nice look at that in the mirror and tell me what you think? Okay. Yeah. Okay. A little bit more on the skin there. So I think that those are really good outlines. Why don't I switch out my needles and then we'll move on to the green. Alright? Are you comfortable? Are you sure you don't want anything? Okay. Give me just a moment. I'll be right back to you, okay? Let me start with the 5 needles here, and this will make some of the larger patches of the color. It'll go a lot quicker. Okay, so we have our green. And let me know when you're ready. Do you want me to jump back to your right side? Okay, we'll give that just a little bit more time. Alright, okay, here we go. There we go. And the ink. Oh, that's going to look so nice and rich. Good job. This is a little finer area here, so go a little slower. Just a little bit. Let's clean the skin a little bit. And look at how well that color took. Okay. How's the area feel? You're alright? Okay. Do you want to take a look? So there's one little patch here. I'm just going to get that real quick. Are you okay with that? Okay. Just a little bit here. Just kind of flare it out a little. Go ahead and take a look. Yeah, it's turning out quite nicely. You ready to switch back over to your left? Okay. Just clean the needle here. And you ready? Okay. This is going to be a little larger. You just tell me to stop at any time if you need a break, okay? And around that nice curved line there up the shoulder. Just gonna flare it out a little. Ready? Doing great. More delicate areas right here, and these are going to be small little corners. We're almost done. Let's go ahead and let's clean that area up. Do the same on the other side. Okay. Go ahead and take the mirror and take a good look. Okay. Very symmetrical, at least with your posture, if that's your normal posture. Okay. And I think we got all the green on here nice and precise. How does that look to you on your left side? Okay. Alright, well, then we'll move on to the canary yellow. We'll continue to kind of flare that out to give it a little bit more of a nice, subtle transition. Okay. Alright, let me switch out my needles here. I'm going to use the 5-point on here as well, so that this will be a nice blending method, okay? Do you want me to go back to your right side? Okay. Alright, let that just sit for a moment or two, okay? Alright. Just kind of dab the area a little bit. And let's head into yellow. Ready? Okay, you're doing fantastic. Just blending out. In the upper portion here. And just some of the final touches, I think. It's getting paper much. I'm almost done. You sure you're okay? Alright. Just let me know. Okay. Just pat the area. Feel free to grab the mirror. What do you think? The skin's going to be a little bit irritated for a little while. That's normal. So this coloration here is going to get a little bit lighter in time. Just a couple of days once the the tissue starts to heal a little bit, but that'll get a lot softer and blend more naturally into the skin. Okay. You think it looks good? Alright. Alright, so if you've been through this process, you kind of know how this goes a little. Alright, you ready to go back to your left? Okay. Alright, get just a little bit of that area cleaned again. You ready? Okay, here we go. There we go. You're doing okay. You're doing great. Okay, we're going to go up the shoulder here and blend out. Almost done, I think. Just a little bit more here. A little bit more here. Last little bit right here. Alrighty. Let's just wipe that down. How does it feel? Not too bad? You did fantastic, for sure. Alrighty, go ahead and take a good look with the mirror. Let me know what you think. Yeah, I think that blended out really, really nicely. And in a couple of days, you'll also start to see that transitioning kind of lighten up as the skin begins to heal. You like it? Oh. Why don't we get it prepped up? I'll wrap it with some shrink wrap, some plastic wrap to keep the area nice and moist. If you've had tattoos done before, you probably know to stay out of direct sunlight. Wear clothing over it or to protect it from the sun for a couple of weeks. Keep the skin nice and safe so that you don't have peeling and scabbing and stuff like that. Keep it to a minimum. Okay. So I'm going to dry the areas off a little bit and then use a nice moisturizing lubricant. Spread it nice and liberally over the area there. Let's do the same on the other side. Alright. And so I'm going to wrap this with some plastic wrap. Just keep it nice and secure here. And anytime that you wash the skin, just make sure that you keep it very well moisturized afterwards. How's that feel? Can you still move your arms? Do the same on this side. Now if you develop any kind of irritation or if the skin becomes painful, bleeding, scabbing is going to be normal, but if you feel like any kind of infection is trying to take hold or anything like that, come right back in immediately, okay? Okay. Alrighty. Do you want any kind of refreshments before you leave, or is there any last areas that you want to have addressed? Well, I thank you very much for coming in and getting some beautiful artwork. Definitely feel free to come back for any kind of touch-ups, and just have a good afternoon. All right. Thank you so much. It was nice meeting you.